Saturday, September 15th, 2018. First off, I would like to give a couple thanks and shout outs to people. First off, Mr. Randy Drum, I received your gift, the Vatican coin, and yes, it does have a plane leaving a trail, chemtrail at the top of it. Secondly, Mr. Robert Dutch, here he shared to my timeline, and what you can see around, he's a fellow weatherman, we'll call them Doppler rings. People refer to them as HAARP rings, but you got to know that HAARP is clear in Alaska. So what you're seeing here is a ring around a NEXRAD transmitter, so we'll just call it Doppler rings of what they really are. Thirdly, at a Jamie Lee at A Plain Truth for sharing some of my videos. This one's nearly got 40,000 views already. I'd like to thank you for getting my work out there. Mr. Jim Lee, here he put up a video the other day, our NEXRAD radar steering Hurricane Florence. Now, he puts out a lot of good information on all weather modification. I mean, he's got it all set up in nice format, very professional like. Now in this one particular video, I got some info or learned something about NEXRAD of what's called searchlight mode. Okay, and what they do is they focus this beam. I think it's some kind of, you watch this video and find out, but what they said, if this beam is focused for more than 5 minutes, it can heat that particular area of the atmosphere. Move right along. Here's two other people, Mr. Mike Morales, I'm not quite sure how you say your name, at Above Ground News, and One Pacific Redwood on the West Coast. He does a great job. And so there's my shout outs. That took 2 minutes, but now I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't agree 100% with what everybody says, and nor do I doubt they agree with everything I say. I'm just saying there's information, and what I like to do is, collaborate, evolve their work, and, there's something from all of them that you can learn. Now we're going to hop right into, since we got the shout outs, get these tabs out of the way. And we'll start with my timeline. Okay, now this started, actually, I started tracking Hurricane Florence about, it was August 30th when it was still in Africa. Okay, but that video is a little further up. But what, first we're going to start, here's September 10th. Now, we had flooding locally in western Maryland, the mid-Atlantic region. This is last weekend. Now, I want to note here, where there is flooding, okay, in western Virginia, southern West Virginia, this is major flooding, okay, and northern North Carolina, and I guess western North Carolina, to be clear over here, but I guess you could consider this northwest North Carolina, central Carolina. Now, you see, and after, watching this, there hasn't been any rain. I mean, there's a few showers, but nothing that should cause any major flooding. So I'm assuming this is all from last weekend, and it's finally making its way down the mountains, I guess, because there hasn't been any significant rainfall in this region. Power outages. We got over 700,000 people in North Carolina without power. 139,000 people in South Carolina. Up here in Massachusetts, there was some type of an explosion, or I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I'm assuming that's why there's power outages up there. So we're going to move right along. Like I said, that flooding that's here in western Virginia and West Virginia is from this rain that we'd got the week before, which they claimed was from Tropical Storm Gordon, but all of us that paid attention know it was like they rebuild it every night. So we're going to move right up and along. Here's Florence, September 10th, out here in the ocean. Now, what did I say in this? It says it is comprised mostly of aerosols, not much water vapor depth, showing on the long wave infrared. Can't find the wind speeds of what they were trying to say. Okay, here I have another post. I want everybody to know that the out west is still on fire while we're all focused on hurricanes. This was a memory from last year, right before ahead of Hurricane Irma, and you'll notice all these halos because it's all pollution from planes. Okay, they want to tell you all this is from ice crystals and that. Water and ice can only refract at like they only have two different refractive indexes. So like when you see all this, I made a video on it before what a natural halo looks like compared to what these chemical induced halos look like. Move on up. September the 11th. Now this post I made, this is some things that I wanted people, once again showing that they're claiming it was a category 4 and I couldn't find the wind speeds. Now this is important about the wind speeds, okay? And I said things to keep in mind, okay? Moorhead, North Carolina, about that transmitter in Moorhead. There's super darns in Virginia. Also about Wilmington. 500 properties were rezoned in FEMA Special Flood Hazard Area, which caused insurance issues for many residents. And also, AT&T is putting up 5G wireless networks in Raleigh and Charlotte. Okay, and we know, because down here I usually end with all my posts with weather warfare, UN Agenda 2030, and disaster capitalism. We know what they like to do. They like to destroy things and then rebuild them. Like their symbol of these, it's on the dollar bill actually, is the phoenix. And what the phoenix represents is rebuilding out of the ashes. Well, rebuilding out of the floodwaters here. Now we'll continue on up. Here's construction of a NEXRAD dome. So when I'm talking about NEXRAD, you know what I'm talking about. Right? Now inside of the dome, there is a radar dish which spins. Let's see if we get a good view here. Right there's the dish they're putting up the dish right now. And then the dome over top of it. Now see, this one is the most powerful one in Florida. And there's only, let's say, 1 of 4 in the world. Okay, and this one's owned by a TV station. Okay, so whoever owns that station there has a nice weather modifier in their hands. Move on up. Here is the American Meteorological Society admitting that about inadvertent weather modification. What I highlighted was, in warm, moist atmospheres, aerosols often invigorate deep convective clouds, usually resulting in greater electrical activity, stronger damaging winds, and a greater likelihood of flash floods. Studies indicate that aerosols might also modulate the intensity of tornadoes and hurricanes. Okay, so there's another thing to keep in mind. Aerosols. Aerosols, what was the other thing I said to keep in mind? About Wilmington, about the NEXRAD, and Moorhead. What else did I say? Oh, the wind speed. Okay, so we got to keep all this in mind as we move along. Wilmington, Moorhead, wind speed, aerosols. Okay, here is September the 12th. I'm talking about how lopsided Florence is from them pushing from the south, stating they will get this hurricane to its desired location. Once again, talking about the wind speed. I cannot find it. Up here's memory or somebody else's post I shared. Now these are what I can refer to as EMF plasma roll clouds, right? Now when you watch these from the ground, they look like they're moving, and you know, if you're only looking up for, you know, a couple seconds, you know, you're not going to notice this. Okay? And when you look from above, it looks like they're not even moving. Okay? And what this is done by, here is a visual of what NextRad. Now, imagine the NextRad ball underneath of this. Okay? And this is kind of like a side view. But what the NextRad does is heterodynes the sky, which heterodyning is a combination of two frequencies to create a, here, let me read all this. EMF plasma roll clouds over Maryland this morning, 4/17/2018. These are created by NextRad doing what is called a heterodyning, which is a process that creates new frequencies by combining or mixing two frequencies. A color visual of that can be seen above. These wave patterns can be seen every single day around NextRad stations. Heterodyning frequency can create much slower rolling wave patterns and gravity waves that drive storm systems. When a single heterodyne gravity wave is generated and the leading edge water vapor generation is sufficient, it creates a storm front, roll cloud, or a shelf cloud. Adjacent generated gravity waves create storm fronts that can be as wide as a continent, examples of which can be seen crossing the United States every day at almost exactly the same time. Now, I'll go ahead and play this video. This video is a little bit longer because I want to cover a lot of this stuff so that you understand what I'm talking about. Now, you pay attention to these clouds, they don't even look like they're moving. I mean, they're staying in the same location is what I'm getting at. Right? And then we'll zoom right in to, now they'll fill out, but here's what it looks like from above. And like examples of this can be seen today. You see how it don't even look like the clouds are moving? It's because they're not. Now, I'm going to go back down here because I said what I said about the storm front. I know my meme that I made is right here. Alright? I made this nice little meme, and I stole this quote from an article about while the phenomenon of electromagnetic rainmaking is believed to be controllable, the reality is that there is no telling what type of weather can form as a result. Now here's your NextRad, and what do we have behind it? A shelf cloud. Now, I just explained up here what I meant by that. Now I'll move right along. Now keep in mind everything I told you to keep in mind. Here's leading up to Florence. You can see the water vapor generation every night leading up to that. And the NextRads also assist in this as well. There's another video I made. Now, I just wing things. I don't have a script here. I just go. Here's from the 13th. Now, here I say that that this storm is getting pulled to transmitter in Morehead City. Okay. Sorry to whoever lives there, but yeah, you're getting 30+ inches coming your way. The buoys are saying 19-foot waves. Alright, I even said by Fox News, they said there was up to 83-foot waves, and which is ridiculous. The highest waves I found was 29 feet. The highest wind speed I could find is 69 knots. Okay, now this whole time, if you paid attention and followed me, I said it was going to be between Morehead and Wilmington. Here's, I started covering Florence 2 weeks ago. Here is a video, August 30th. Now, I said, here I was wrong, that we would start seeing interference patterns radiating out from the NextRad in Morehead City. We didn't see that. This storm made it almost up to Moorhead, and then it beelined for Wilmington. I forget exactly where it made landfall, but you know, here I put later on in the night. Next rats just bloomed up for their nightly cycle. This is what I refer to as bloomed up. Okay, and this is what I call their nightly ionization cycle. Here is the next plot point. Almost made it to Moorhead City. The eye, that is. Looks like it is now starting to move west towards Wilmington, North Carolina. So it almost made it there. I mean, I was half right, half wrong. Here's another person. If I got her book, you'll learn a lot from it. Ilana Freeland, Under an Ionized Sky. But, yeah, so, and we'll move right along. Here was the same. This is the 13th. A massive fire exploded. Yeah, I'd say exploded. Look how big this heat indicator is on that map. And you can even see the frequencies in this smoke. I mean, look at that plume of smoke. And you can see the frequencies. And then somebody who lives there shared her photo with me. She said, thanks for these pics. So much zappage today. I mean, I got people on the ground everywhere sharing their photos with me. Here's another video I made. This is yesterday morning about this zap that came up from Antarctica, and it forced this storm way up real quick. And then there was another one that spanned the whole Pacific. We'll get to that. Now here is another one I want to share. Alright, look at this guy on the Weather Channel. He's acting like, oh my. Alright, watch. He's acting like he's getting blown away. And then watch in the background. This is on your live TV. Look. These kids just walking like it's nothing. Look, this guy's an actor. These people are lying to you constantly. 29 miles an hour. A gust at 48. Hell, the wind blows harder here after it rains. I mean, it's just, when are people going to wake up? I mean, look at these patterns in the sky. This is from 2 years ago. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. Alright, now that we're 18 minutes in, we're going to start looking at the weather. Here's the mimic map I was talking about. We see this zap, and then we see this zap here. Now, I think that when I'm watching this, that this is all stemming from one event. Okay, if you watch my video from the other day, we seen this one. It almost blew it apart and forced this storm way up. Now, I think it's starting to reform, and it's going to get caught in this wave. I remember late last year, you guys up here in Western Europe got hit with a hurricane. I don't know if it was a tropical storm or type system. I believe it was Ophelia. But you guys may be looking at something like that again. I mean, freaking hurricanes and tropical storms clear up here in the northern latitudes. And that's another thing to keep in mind with your symbology and shit. This hurricane made landfall to 33-degree latitude. And this beam here, by the looks of it, there was a typhoon over, I believe, the Philippines. And I think it affected that storm. Okay, now we're going to look at next rad images. Here we got this nice bloom. Oh, this is from the other night because I told you about that searchlight beam. Alright, and there was one coming from Atlanta. Now this one was here for a good while. I mean, it was there nearly all morning. It started at 11:11 p.m. the night before. That would have been on the 13th. And then it lasted all through the morning. These go through 40-minute intervals. So that's several hours. Okay, and it did the same today. This is from last evening. Well, we'll pay attention to where these next rads are bloomed up. That's what I call it. Bloomed up. Where they're all bloomed up and where they're not. Where they're not, that's where this hurricane's allowed to move. And where they are, that's where we're going to see what I refer to as ionized popcorn cumulus clouds and thunderstorms. And also, there is a tropical system moving up through Texas, or what they would call a tropical system. Now we'll see a couple beams there from that Atlanta transmitter. Right there, right there. And remember, they even said that can heat the atmosphere if it's on for longer than 5 minutes. Look at the most recent. Now, other transmitters that do this is this one in Michigan is always in searchlight mode. This one in Houston is always shooting beams out. And yeah, I wanted you to notice where all these are bloomed up. Here's a little closer look. You can see where it's going to be allowed to move. We don't need to play that right this second. Here, yeah, you can just look at these unnatural shapes in the upper level water vapor imagery. I mean, just ridiculous. Angles everywhere. Look at this. You see how that was squeezed down around it? This area of dry, high pressure. Watch here at the end. I mean, this should be a good indicator of how unnatural our weather is. See it smashing that storm? Now, what do we see? All right, where them next rads were bloomed up all the way down into Florida, just like I said. This happens every single day. Now, in the winter, I don't think you'll see it so much if I remember correctly. But, you know, you see where it's all bloomed up at night and they die down. But for the past couple days, they've been staying bloomed up during the day. I mean, it should be obvious as to why. But right where you see this line, Texas clear up to Minnesota. What do we got? Texas clear up into Minnesota. We even have some here in New Mexico and Colorado. So, but you know, that's a little later in the day. Yeah, we're getting popcorn clouds there. We sure are. Here's a closer look. And we'll get an even closer look at this mist current image of them feeding this storm off the coast here. Because when you look at this rain band coming off, it's just a continuous flow, this outer flow here. And it's still hitting that area. Like, I mean, they told you a week ago where it was going to get flooded. I didn't. They just tell you, and, you know, I just knew it was going to be between Moorhead and Wilmington. You know, because where the two transmitters are. I mean, it's that simple of knowing where these next rads are. And here we can see them ionized popcorn clouds all around this. You can see the plane filth, the aerosols all around this. Look, you can see the lines from the planes in there. See the lines of the planes seating on the outside of this. Here we got your EMF roll clouds on the below. I haven't been able to see the sky again today for, well, the other day, 2 days ago, we got a little break in the sky and we could see, but it still rained that day. And here is Georgia. We could really see them seeding down here. And here, I'm almost certain this right here is what? Probably ships. and then you can see them seeding over top. But this is probably ships, these straight lines feeding water vapor. There's the center. But yeah, North Carolina's getting it. Like here, up here, you can see a nice square in this ionized cloud. That's my report for today. You can see all the aerosols around it. Once this is completely done, I'll make a review video of just Florence, but that's my report. We'll check back in at a later date.